Hi, I really appreciate everyone joining today. My name is Marcy Morrison. I'm the pre-grad pre-law advisor in the main career center at UC San Diego. And I wanted to give a shout out. You can't see him right here because he's behind the scenes, but Camilo Londoño is a current PhD neuroscience student, and he's also a career peer educator and works with us here in the career center. So he does advising, helping students applying to grad school, helps us out with these events. So thanks so much for being here, Camilo. I really appreciate your help. And I really want to thank all of the panelists for being here. I really wanted to get a good representation of law, grad, STEM, and non-STEM. And I just appreciate all of you being here. And instead of me introducing you, I thought it would be more fun for the students to hear from you. So I want to start with you, Carmen, and have you introduce yourself.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marcy. I'm happy to be here and excited to answer all of your questions. My name is Carmen Sue. I'm the Director of Admissions here at UCLA School of Law. I've been Director of Admissions. I've been at UCLA for almost 20 years, been doing admissions for 23 years. I am a UC alum, having graduated at UC Irvine, also attended Irvine Valley College, and went back east for law school at Syracuse Law and did a joint degree there, master's JDMA in sociology. So happy to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Carmen. Dunya?
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here today. My name is Dunya Khoury. I've been with the Tepper School of Business for a little over 2 years now. I work primarily with our Masters in Management and our part-time Masters in Business Analytics programs, but also help out with full-time MSBA and our MBA programs. So really excited to talk to you all today.
Thanks, Dunya. Emily?
Hi everyone, my name's Emily. I work at University of Cambridge, so it's a real pleasure to be part of this panel. I work in the international student team, so me and my colleagues work with students from around the world who are considering coming to Cambridge for their undergraduate or postgraduate studies like you guys. I'm from the part of England that Cambridge is in, so if you have any kind of more specific questions, not just about the admissions process, but that part of England, then I would love to share that with you as well.
Thanks, Emily. Marina?
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here with you all today and with the colleagues. My name is Marina Bruce, Assistant Director of Admissions at the School of Global Policy and Strategy. I've been with UC San Diego for 31 years, 10 years with the Department of Athletics, 1 year with Scripps Institution of Oceanography, 1 year at Rady School of Management, and 1 year at Revelle College in undergrad. It's been a fun journey, and I am happy to share and impart with you my knowledge and experiences today.
Thanks, Marina. Gert?
Hi, everyone, and welcome to virtual UC San Diego. Yes, I'm a professor, Gert Cauwenberghs. I'm a professor of bioengineering. This is in the Chien-Gene Department of Bioengineering here at UC San Diego. Also, I co-direct the Institute for Null Computation. I'm also serving as the chair of admissions, graduate admissions here at UC San Diego in bioengineering. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gert. All right. Well, I know Camilo you can't see him here, but we have collected questions that we find are asked a lot. And I know a lot of you do a lot of panels and probably hear a lot of the same questions, but these are things that students keep them up at night. So I thought that it would be good to hear directly from you, because a lot of times they'll say to me, what do you think? And I'll share what I think, but I always say it's always good to hear from an admissions officer's their opinion on these types of questions. So the first question I wanted to start out with is, how do I stand out with my application materials? And maybe we will go backwards this time. So Gert, I think I'll start with you first.
So first of all, I guess in terms of, yes, I serve as the chair of admissions, so I see both sides of, I see your applications, I see even when you come here and visit us in the department. So we have and naturally you have questions like, how should I prepare my applications? What are the chances of admission? So it is important for you to present yourself the way you are. Of course, that's the major part of all this. But give us all the information that we need to assess what would you be here as a graduate student, right? How would you do in your coursework to start? And more importantly, in research, how would you, right? What are your interests? What have you been good at? What are your aspirations? And the broader impact is extremely important too, right? So what kind of, right? So what keeps you up at night? Because what excites you? And those are factors we look for in admissions. And then we have all this process timelines for you to set
Minor
applications in. And yeah, I'm not sure whether that addressed the question here, but yeah.
Thank you. All right. Am I frozen or am I okay?
No, you're good.
Okay, got it. Because my thing said it was unstable. So, okay, great. And Marina, thank you so much, Gert.
Well, I think I'm just going to piggyback on Gert's comments. We really want to hear about you and understanding your background, and all the elements of your application will help us to get an understanding of who you are, why this program or the program that you are applying to. You may be applying to more than one type of program, but tailoring your statements to really understand why this program is a good fit for you in terms of your career aspirations. What are you bringing to the table that will add to the classroom in any of the settings? But really just having a good understanding of what the program is all about, to communicating that somehow, or just by the nature of what it is, again, what your career outcomes are. All of those things really play a part in how your application can stand out in the most positive way, and also in not the most positive way.
Thank you so much, Marina. Emily?
Thanks. It's a really good question. It's one that I get asked all the time because everyone knows that Cambridge is extremely competitive. So students want to know what it actually is that they can do to help them get in. And the first thing to do is remember that you might be the top of your class, but you are being compared to a gathered field of all the tops of classes from around the world. So you've got to be able to show serious academic interest, first of all, in the subject that you're applying for. At Cambridge, we really are only looking for academic skills, so your grades, but also extra activity that you do, but that is still about the subject that you're applying for. That's what really helps students stand out. We also look at a personal statement and reference, and what's said about you in those contexts and what you say about yourself is also really important, remembering to keep it academic related.
Great. Thank you so much, Emily. Dunya?
Yeah, I think I'd probably echo a lot of what was already said, but some of the big things are really just to highlight being authentic and sharing more of your story. We get a lot of applications. A lot of the time students are looking up like, what do we want to see? And if you're doing that and everyone else is doing that, you're going to get the same results. And then we see a lot of the same application, and it's no longer an authentic application that's representative of you. So really kind of something that tells us your story. How did you end up applying for our program? What stood out? How does it fit with the experiences you've already had and the experiences you're hoping to have in the future and your future goals? So I think those are probably the key pieces in addition to everything else that was already shared.
Thanks a lot, Dunya. Carmen?
First of all, nothing should be keeping you up at night as it relates to academics. There are far bigger problems than applying to graduate school, and it shouldn't be keeping you up at night because we are, at least I'll speak for UCLA Law, we are very accessible to you during your awake hours, meaning email, phone during our office hours. So please get some rest. Secondly, it's actually nice to be on a panel of non-law school folks because I think our answers can be very different. And I hope you are taking notes as it relates to each program. And at least, again, as far as UCLA Law goes, we are incredibly accessible to answer your questions outside of just this panel. So if you're looking for my contact information, because I know we're not going to get to everything, please feel free to reach out to Marcy, and she will very happily give out my email address. And as it relates to the question, unlike Emily's answer, which I very much respect because yes, University of Cambridge is incredibly difficult to get into, we want all the information that you can provide about you, inside and outside of law related information. So any extracurricular activities that you can provide that will give us insight as to who you are, both related to law and not related to law, we want to know because we are looking to admit people from all walks of life with all interest areas because law touches every corner of the world in terms of interest and career path. Please be as comprehensive as possible about what you have done post high school, even as it relates to work experience, whether that be retail, you had to work full time, you were caretaking. So anything and everything, please feel free to provide on your application.
Thank you so much, Carmen. I really appreciate that you brought that out too. Like, because even within law schools themselves, there could be specific things that are different. And so that's what I always encourage students to make sure that you're looking at each program's requirement and do what they're asking you to provide what it is that they're asking you for. So I really appreciate you bringing that up, Carmen. Thank you. All right, next question. What courses, extracurricular, and experiences should I have? I think you all touched on this a little bit, and I do know that this can be program specific as well, and law school is a little bit of its own case regarding that as well. So, Carmen, I'm going to start back with you on that question, maybe a little bit deeper information, because I get this pretty much every day.
Yeah, and just to continue on sort of the theme that I was speaking of just momentarily, quite frankly, yeah, anything that you are interested in, we want you to pursue your passion. So whether that be culinary arts, art history, sports, I mean, anything and everything relates to the law. So I actually forgot the base of your question, Marcy. Can you repeat it, please?
Yeah. So, what courses, extracurricular, and experience should I have?
Yeah, so courses and extracurricular activities, pursue your passion, really. Don't pursue anything that you think a law admissions officer wants to see, which typically falls in line of working at a law firm, working at legal aid. Those are great, but we received almost 9,000 applications this current cycle. So if you're looking to stand out, those things don't necessarily stand out. It's how you weave your story into why you are now applying to law school is really the pertinent question. And that could really span the gamut within law and outside of the law. So courses, whatever it is that you're interested in, whether that be engineering, theater, arts, math, political science, English, we see it all. We admit them. We admit folks from all sorts of majors and minors and extracurricular activities. Same. I mean, we had someone in our incoming class that was a full-time chef, someone who was interested in theater, who was doing theater, and everything in between. So unlike, I guess, some other more specific and maybe smaller programs, we really are looking for people from all walks of life.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Carmen. Dunya.
Yeah, for our programs, it really depends on which program you're applying to, but some general things across the board, because they're business programs, management programs, business analytics programs, we are looking for a little bit of math background. So even just one course in one college level math course is helpful for at least the master's in management program. There's programming in a lot of our programs, so making sure to have some understanding of one of the programming languages. Python, R, and SQL come up quite a bit. Those aren't requirements, but just things that have been helpful in terms of, talking to current students and seeing what they wish they would have had or would have been helpful to them as they pursue the degrees. And then internship experiences are always nice if some of our programs are more pre-experienced, like our MSM. So any internship experiences, if available, otherwise involvement on campus, leadership opportunities. We have a lot of collaboration in all of our programs. So opportunities where you've worked as a team, started a club or organization on campus. Those are kind of the big things I would say are really helpful in terms of what we're looking for and what we typically see on applications.
Excellent. Thanks, Dunya. Emily?
Thanks. So due to the nature of Cambridge, our entry requirements are quite specific to the program that you might want to apply for. So for example, for law, we really are looking at students who are within the 10% of their current law program, and that's what they need to be studying at their undergraduate, unless it's a really rare circumstance and they've still come out 10% highest in some legal work that they've done, for example. For some classes, for some courses, sorry, like other arts and humanities, there is a bit more flexibility, and it might be asked that you have covered certain topics in your bachelor program that would relate to the postgraduate program you want to apply for. Or it might just be a straight, you need to have done that course already in order to apply for it. But this is always really clear online. Anything that we want to see that's that specific would be made obvious to you, so you don't waste any time applying for something that's not really an option for you at Cambridge. Otherwise, in some cases, internships, depending on the course, might be relevant, and anything additional that you do outside of your studies to kind of broaden your awareness of that subject area is really beneficial.
Great. Thank you so much, Emily. Marina?
All of the above, everybody. So if you're still an undergrad and you have space and bandwidth to complete elective coursework that's maybe outside of your discipline, challenge yourself, perhaps take classes that are also of interest to you. This helps you to understand who you are as a person, who you are as an evolving student, and helps to kind of prepare you for, well, it does help prepare you for life, because again, every class that you take that's outside of maybe what your discipline is, you might discover that you have an interest and or passion for another area. So taking coursework that can, help, that it helps you in any way. If you've already completed your degree, there's not a whole lot what you can do is continue to take coursework that is of interest to you or the field that you're hoping to embark upon. But really, it's just all about thinking how to impress, unless you're going to University of Cambridge or planning to go to University of Cambridge, where it is very specific. You just heard from 2 other programs where you don't have to have a completely related academic background to be considered for admission into the program. Same way for the School of Global Policy and Strategy. We've also had people come from culinary backgrounds, theater backgrounds, very relevant and specific backgrounds, econ majors, poli-sci majors. It all really depends on where you are now, what kind of professional experience you've had, what kind of leadership experience you've had, and also what kind of impact you hope to have on the opposite side, once you graduate. So I'll leave it there.
Thanks, Marina. Gert?
We have several programs here, graduate programs in bioengineering, and we should distinguish those, of course. The PhD program is the most competitive, and there we look for proven excellence in coursework, but also in research experiences. Being able to do research is, of course, very important. That's what PhD is all about. So we're looking for not necessarily a background in bioengineering, but definitely good foundations in physics, engineering, and life sciences as necessary. But we're flexible. We have admitted students that they're great, having proven potential in one area, and they're willing to learn new fields. So that's why we're very welcoming to I guess everyone. On the master's side of things, there are different plans. There is plan 1 of a master's, which is a thesis-based option. So there we're looking also for good research experiences, but clearly this is a shorter path with a pull towards industry career positions on a shorter timeline than a PhD, which is more academic. And then we have other masters too, right? Where we're looking for a master's plan two is basically just more coursework based and perhaps a project, but is more in terms of coursework. And then we have a Master of Engineering as well as a Master of Medical specialization, basically preparing students for a career, perhaps even preparing them for medical school. Basically technology-oriented practice programs, right, where they can be trained in what is just great in bioengineering as far as in practice. Right? And so those are the different programs that we have.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Gert. I know we only have about 8 minutes left before we head out, or maybe now 7 minutes. And I know Camilo's actively setting up the breakout rooms for us to go into. So maybe we could just give some quick answers. And I know this really isn't a quick answer, but the best that you can, right? Is that the other questions I get really is around like application materials, like what kind of letters of rec should I have? What do you want to see in the personal statement or statement of purpose? And I realize for STEM and non-STEM, the requirements may be different than that. So if there's something you wanted to focus on in regards to the application materials that you wanted to highlight, because those are definitely questions that we get on a regular basis. So Gert, I'll go ahead and start with you.
So the process here at UC San Diego for graduate applications is pretty streamlined. In fact, it's the same format for any program that you're applying to. There's some custom questions that each department has, and we certainly have those, but everything is pretty straightforward. You can start the process, just go create an account in the system and then see what is needed. So just fill out all these different, the points that are the different fields. A very important component is, of course, a CV. Include your curriculum vitae, your resume. And extremely important, of course, are the letters of recommendation. Make sure that you have letter writers lined up, because we look very carefully at what those 3 letters of reference or recommendation have to tell about you. There's some other fields that you complete, but specifically we're looking for your research interest. What do you care about? Which faculty would you like to work with? And I can't emphasize this enough. If you haven't taken a look at the website, see what we're doing, and if you're not familiar with what we have to offer, there's probably not a good fit here. I mean, you want to definitely do a little homework and see if this is the place you want to be. And you may even want to, I mean, in addition to applying and send your application, and before that, you may actually want to reach out to faculty doing the research, right, and get familiarized just with what we have to offer, and may even have advice of what kind of things we're looking for. And so just highlight that in your application, in your statement, right, of purpose, what you want to do here, what excites you here, and because the applications are routed to faculty that you express interest in, and so they will comment on this is this a good fit to our department and to our research programs. So it is extremely important. I think that's the most important part, is actually making sure you get a good fit with the department as far as the faculty doing the research. And of course, make sure that the letter writers will say something good about you too. That's important to me.
Thank you so much, Gert. Marina, anything you want to add to that?
I do want to say something about the letters of recommendation. So first of all, I want to say 2 things. Manage your application. So from the time you begin your application on the application portal, you have every ability to review what items, what letters have been received, what test scores, if any are required, have been received. It is your duty to follow up with your recommendation writers and, politely remind them of an upcoming deadline. Just making sure that you are, have successfully completed the requirements of your, in order for your application to be reviewed. So remember that. The other thing I would definitely jump up again to piggyback on what Gert indicated about your letter of recommendation writers. Those for different programs, every program might have a different requirement. For example, our school is looking for letters from an academic as well as professional source. So those people you want to look for those recommenders who can speak to your ability to succeed in the classroom as well as outside the classroom. We do not prefer that they come from the dean of the school. We understand that even an assistant professor, a TA who you are very close with, have done research with, all those sorts of individuals who know you directly, those are the kinds of letters we want to see. Same thing with your professional resources. Let it go. Let it move on to my next colleague.
Thank you so much, Marina. Super helpful. Emily.
Sure. So I'll touch on the two things that we ask for. They just have slightly different names. So we ask for 2 references, and depending on what stage you're at and when you last left education will depend on who those references need to be. But I think for everyone on this call, even if you're an alumni at this stage, it would still count for you that we would want 2 academic references. But similar to what Marina was saying, it really needs to be people that know you best. It doesn't have to be the head of department or faculty you're in if they don't know you, because this person needs to be able to talk about you in context. So if you're the best person they've seen in their class, in what time period, and only someone who knows you well can give that kind of information. And then we call the letter that you need to write a personal statement. And in this personal statement, you need to talk about your interest in the subject and where you want to then take it at postgraduate level. So it's okay to actually write about something quite specific or quite niche if that's your research interest. Do your research before and then get to the writing stage.
Great. Thank you so much, Emily. Dunya.
Yeah, I think a lot of great points were brought up. I'll echo some of them. For us, we use the GMAC common letter of recommendation. So what's nice for the recommenders is they're just filling out a form. It rates on a scale from 1 to 5, and they can add comments at the end. So hopefully a little bit faster process. We do prefer that comes from a professional recommender. But if the student is pre-experienced or applying for the programs that are more pre-experienced, academic is fine. I'll echo what my colleagues have shared on here, that we do want it to be someone that knows you and has seen you kind of in action academically, in an internship, professionally, wherever that source may be coming from. And then a big piece is just looking at your fit with our programs. We're really big about fit in our community here. So as it was already stated before, do your research on the programs you're applying to, the specific master's program or whichever program within the school, and really look to see if that fits with your interests, and tell us why, tell us how you got here, tell us what your next steps are as it relates to all of that.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much, Dunya. Karman, you're bringing us home.
Bringing up home. All right. Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit here and send in a bunch of links. The first link is our application requirements. So you can feel free to go to that link and you'll see all our requirements there listed, including personal statement, resume, letters of rec, all of that. The second link is our link to visit UCLA Law, both in person and virtually. We do offer virtual class visits, sitting in on an actual class that is taking place. You would zoom in, and then a virtual tour that you can take that is led by our current students, so long as they are on campus and in session. And then the last link is a link to the Law School Admission Council, which is a great resource to have if you're thinking about attending law school. 2 simple takeaways for UCLA Law in regards to letters of recommendation. Very consistent theme, as my colleagues have spoken about. The substance is much more important than who is writing the letter. So if it's a TA versus a professor who knows you better, we prefer the letter to come from a TA. Similarly, a supervisor, if you've been out of school for a while, a supervisor who can attest to your academic skills would be great. Lastly, in regards to personal statement, I'll just circle back to what I was saying about being comprehensive about your experience post high school. We want to know all about who you are, which would include information that is relevant to law school in the direct sense and law school in the indirect sense, so long as it is clear as to why you are now applying to law school.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Carmen. I know Camilo has the breakout rooms. You're welcome to also visit multiple breakout rooms if maybe you're considering several different schools here as well. So feel free to do that. We'll probably bring you back out around 12:50, 12:55. So enjoy your time with these amazing admissions officers. And I think you all on the panel need to join as well, or maybe Camilo is putting you in. There we go. Carmen, are you able to get in there or do you need help? Dunya, Gert, you guys good? Okay. Can you join your room, Dunya, or?
I don't have one yet,
Oh,
so
I see it. No, it's set up.
is it? Okay, let's see.
Sorry, it might take a second for people to get over there.
Oh, here we go. Just got it. Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
I'm sorry, I don't see the room.
Who is talking right now? Is it
Sophia?
Sophia?
Mhm.
Camilo, can you help? Is there, it's down on the bottom, right? Does it say breakout rooms and you can join there? Um, Camilo, are you there? Sorry, Sophia. Let me see if I can. Where do you want to go?
To the woman with UCLA Law.
Okay, sure. Oh, shoot. Sophia, are you back?
Yes, hi.
Okay, so sorry. I thought I put you here. I'm going to try again.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, great. Camilo, are you there? Dolly, do you need help?